It's monthly mega deal time and one day special time as well. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the craft store. So it is our monthly mega deal, but we've got it in an hour where typically you'd be seeing the one day special. So if you have tuned in for that, we've got a deal that's meant to last a month, but we've been very busy for this. Look, it's a die cutting machine. And I have to say, though, it is a very, very good die cutting machine. And I'm going to talk about this because it's really important. I know there are die cutting machines on the market. You might have a die cutting machine at home and thinking, okay, why do I need this machine in my life? Just got to point out very quickly before I introduce the legend that is John Lockwood, we have got an exclusive. This is the pink option for your fantastic Go Power and Emboss. You cannot get this anywhere else. We chose this color. It was made for the craft store. You will not be able to buy this anywhere else. And once it's gone, it's gone. I did give you a little tease, so let me introduce you to the legend himself. John, how you doing, buddy?
I'm all right, thank you. How are you?
Good. John, I'm going to break the rules and kind of move away from how we were going to start the show, because we were having a really interesting conversation. Don't want to put you on the spot, but I think it's interesting. Can we? Do you mind if I tell people?
You know, at the end of the day, it is what it is.
Are you sure that's all right?
Yeah, it's absolutely
Because I should have really. I just thought as I was introducing, that would be a really good conversation for everyone at home.
You're right, because it does actually reflect on the whole thing.
I'll explain, and this is why I was tentative, and I really did put John on the spot. So obviously, I've worked with John for a number of years, and you've got so many fans out there because, and I really understand this sounds like silly telly, but I'm not. It's not meant to be. Your reputation is important to you.
It is.
So you stand there and people believe in what you're saying, and that's pivotal, really.
I'm a crafter. I came into this as a crafter. I was very lucky to get into the industry. I got into the industry through my blog, through just crafting, not through applying and trying or designing or anything like that. I'm very lucky, and to me, to keep my reputation as a crafter, because it's what I am. I mean, this morning as I'm tidying up, I'm looking at these bits going, oh, I want to go home and do something with that. And doesn't that, you know, I can't stop myself. I want to keep that. I don't want to be seen as, oh, you know, he'll sort of go on and flog anything type.
And no, you absolutely won't.
No, and, you know, I wouldn't want that. I want to be and stay as a crafter.
Now, the reason why I'm saying that is this is the first die-cutting machine that John has endorsed. And the reason I'm going for this, and the conversation that John and I were having, because I know John spent months testing out another machine, totally different brand. This was, what, a year or two ago?
I think it's probably a year, 18 months ago, I think, that we sort of finished with it. But the whole process was about 3 years.
So sorry, I said a few months.
Yeah, I actually designed the case for it and everything, so I actually designed
the case
to go with it.
And I saw you brought the machine in a few times, and then you actually walked away from that machine.
Yeah.
Now, this is what John and I were discussing. This is what I was like, oh, can we say this on air? But we're not going to mention any brands or anything like that. But why did you walk away from the machine?
To be honest, the two main things that we wanted, I was testing it and I long-term test things. The first thing was we wanted them to make it wider. Yeah. We wanted it to be able to have every die ever gone. That is a really important thing to me. I've invested an awful lot of money in some of the bigger dies and some of the older dies and things like that. Dies that I absolutely love, you know. I would never do, I'd love to be able to design a die like this, but why would I when I've got it and it exists? Yeah, cool. It's a vanity. So I wanted to have the machine to go into that, and they couldn't make that change for us. And it just wasn't up to standard. It wasn't good enough.
There were a few...
It had the little...
Sensors.
The sensors were there that hung down, and I didn't like that. Okay,
and we don't have to worry about sensors.
No,
with
and
this
basically everything on this solved it. And in the end, the conclusion we came to, because I was working with this one, was we'd be reinventing the wheel. We couldn't get that machine to work how we wanted to, so we stopped doing it because I said the machine that does everything we're doing is out in the market, and it isn't ours. Okay, this isn't Crafts 2. It doesn't come through Crafts 2. It doesn't come through me. You know what I mean? If people buy 10 or people buy 100 or 1,000, you know, I don't see anything of that. Do you know what I mean? It's not on that one. This is, I'm doing this show for you guys, and because this is the machine that I physically use. And we made the choice that basically we would concentrate on our Kaleido, which to me is the best machine going with everything it does. Yeah. And when it came to electronic die cutting machines, we won't make our own now. No. The one we're testing wasn't good enough. This is
backing that.
This is good. And we'll use this. And as I said, we don't even sell it.
And that's a combination. you want further endorsement, John bought his own, then he bought 4 for his own workshops as well. That is how good this machine is. And trust me, John would not be buying a machine and standing here endorsing a machine if it didn't live it up to it. And he's tried all the machines. So let's see what we're actually getting here at the bundle. So this is an exclusive to the craft store in the pink. This is exclusive color made for us. You will not find this anywhere else. Had a massive amount of stock that's meant to last the month. We're over 40%. So not only are you getting phenomenal cut power, go power and emboss, but you're also going to be getting the plates, and I'm going to talk about these in a little bit of detail in a moment. You're going to get 30 dies, and you're getting your embossing folders too. And I'm just conscious of the fact that standing here as crafters, I know that it's a really important decision picking the right die cutting machine for you. So at home, and I'm going to speak to you right now, if you've got a die cutting machine and you're struggling with it. So whether it's, and I'm absolutely not knocking hand cranked machines, but I found personally, and you might be in the same situation, hand crank machines, especially A4, when you're trying to get those plates through, sometimes they can be stubborn. I go to the gym and I don't feel like I'm a slouch, and I struggle there. So, you know, I think a lot of people can struggle with hand crank machines, but equally, this is a machine where if you've got dies, if you've got an old machine that you've had for years, and technology has come a long way since when dies were first formed, very simple shapes. But now, if you see the kind of dies and the intricacy that John designs, and John actually pushes it. If you watched earlier on, John was explaining to us that when he designs, so you'll say this better than I will, John, but you're saying the manufacturers give a guidance of allowance, right?
They do. They give you allowances of where different holes can be, how far apart they've got to be. In fact, I've probably got a classic example here. Okay. This is an older die. Yeah. But if you can see here, I mean, this is a very thick older die. You can see how the lines are sort of there, really hard to show, and how much space you've got between all of these. Yeah? Okay. The manufacturer says you can't have 2 lines like this coming any closer than 3 millimeters. Oh, okay. Yeah? Whereas, if I pull one of mine, hopefully you can see there, you've got about 1 millimeter there. Wow, okay. So I actually push it because it used to be, and I've said this so many times, but it's because it's genuinely, they used to, I'd send the designs over, and then they would send me back saying, hello, John, I think we've probably not sent you before the guidelines for dies. And they'd send me the same image with the same instructions around it, with little arrows pointing, no more than 3 mil, these holes have got to be here, because I just completely ignored them. Yeah. Got them to sample them and found that, you know, it will work. Yeah. And as long as you've got the right machine and you design your dies well, you know, it's not just arbitrary where the closer lines and things are, they will work. And it really will. So my point to you is, if you've got dies that you struggle with right now and you're having to move around, and then in the end what happens is move around trying to find maybe the pressure point in your specific machine, we stop using them. And we've all been there. We can all relate to this. The power you're getting with the Go Power and Emboss, you're not going to have that issue. It's going to future-proof you for all those dies coming up in the future that are beautifully intricate and really pushing the limits. But also, and this is the biggest point I can ever say, this is a machine, it's a catch-all. You're not going to have to switch from machine to machine. An electronic machine with a wide mouth that will take your bigs, but then it will also take your slim, smaller dies as well. So it doesn't matter. This machine will take any die out there, any die in your stash, barring there's only one exception. And John was explaining to us again earlier on, but we were chatting to it in our meeting. There were 12 by 12s released by a brand. One company, Sizzix released some 12 by 12 dies. How big was the machine? The machine was this table size, because when I say I've bought virtually every machine, I had that one as well. I had the Pro, and it was it probably wasn't it, but it was it had 12 by 12, 12 by 12, and the big thing in the middle with 12-inch rollers. That was they did dies for it, big, deep dies. I think they did one range, there's probably about 20 of them. And they're like hen's teeth to find? Oh, they are like hen's teeth. Apparently, Paola has a collection of them. I actually gave my big machine away, and I gave the dies away with it to a fellow demonstrator. I don't think she actually uses it at all anymore. It's so big and cumbersome. Because it was big and cumbersome. Those are the only dies that don't go through here. All right, so that's massive.
The only dies that won't go here are 12 by 12s. But you will, and this is how we were talking about combination. In my view, the perfect setup for your craft room. Kaleido is fantastic as your quick go-to A5 machine, but there'll be other occasions where you want to use your workhorse, and that is when your couture creation comes in. Now, I've got to tell you that we had an email in from Anne. Anne's a serious crafter. So she previously bought the gold. She's now bought the pink to accompany it so she can increase her output. And we've got so many good reviews, and she's saying, what's next coming up? And she's saying, it is a great bargain.
Well, actually, from a friend of mine, Anne, that I've known for a number of years, I don't know if it's the same Anne, she messaged me between shows and told me there is an A4 manual machine, which is one I used to use a lot, and that is currently available. Its retail price is £239.99. Wow. It's £100 more and it's manual. And it has the same plate combination. Yeah. So that's... I just don't get it. I really don't get it. But again, I don't know how. I paid a lot more than you're charging for mine. Yeah. Well, you did. We were saying that. Go onto our website now. We'll be reading out the reviews. We've got 84 five-star reviews. 84. And this is what, and we had a lot of people actually emailing as well throughout the course of the one-day special too. But reviews like excellent, this is just one of the reviews, excellent pressure, cuts, embosses beautifully, glides well, does what you hope for over all sizes of dies and performs beautifully. Another review saying a really useful machine at a good price. It takes deep dies, A4, thin dies, no need to turn the handle, just push a button. Say going back to, my dad always taught me, like when you're looking at something, smaller details, I think, give you an understanding of, as a company, the intention. Yes. And by that I mean, and stick with me on this, so the first thing I said to John, because John's brought in his machine that he's had for 2.5 years. So he had the option, I know we had a brand new machine that you could have used, but you're like, no, I want to use the one I've been using for 2.5 years. And the first thing I asked you when I came in this morning, it was early, show me your plates. Yeah. Now, this is the thing, because I've seen electric machines, and after a few months, the plates are warped. I mean, it's warped to the point they're actually bowing. It's like a bowl. These are my plates for this machine that's used on every show and every demo. They have never been cleaned. They have never been dumped in hot water. They've only ever had my little vacuum over them to take the little bits out of it. But these are, as I say, look, there's just no warping or anything. John, as long as you use them the right way, and what you need to do is, if you've got the C plate, okay, and if you use the C plate on the top of the sandwich, because it's 3mm, it warps. You always use the C plate, if possible, inside there. Okay. If it does, and if you're using, say, the magnetic platform, you do use the C plate, we will get onto that, then what you would do is you will keep rotating it every time. Perfect. So the only time you tend to bend that, and I've done it, because I've tested every way going, and I don't try and break them, I just treat things badly at times. Well, I do. No, you don't handle it with kid if that's on top, it will bend. But I've kept this one constantly to the bottom of the sandwich, be the thicker one on top, and these are literally my 2-year-old plates. I've got new plates that I got with the machine, and I'm saving them for best. I don't know what for. Well, at least you've got them. But look, that's important. Another thing I asked John, and apologies if you did watch the earlier show, the metal shim. And the reason why I was so keen to stress this, I would have genuinely felt uncomfortable as a presenter here at the craft store if we were selling anything that could hurt you. One of our guests, and there's John showing you, so it's not sharp. And the reason why we're doing that, a guest, I was doing a show a few weeks ago, she was using a different machine, we don't have here, and she actually cut herself on the metal shim badly. I mean, no joke, we were talking about having to stop the show. She really did give herself a nasty nick. I actually saw that show, to be honest. But you know, why I won't mention the lady's name, bless her. But why would a company have a metal shim that could cut you? But it's, again, boils down to the attention to detail that you get with Couture Creations. So the plates won't warp. The metal shim's not going to cut you. And also, we had a question from Pete just asking how heavy the plates are. To be honest, they're no heavier than any other A4 set of plates with this thing. I would say the base plate is possibly a little bit heavier and sturdier than perhaps I've had with, say, the machines I know that do this sort of thick base plate are things like the Cut Emboss, the Platinum, the Spellbinders Platinum, the Sizzix Big Shot Plus. I would say it's about the same. If anything, maybe a little heavier, to be honest. I'd rather say that than actually say, oh, it's lighter or anything.
Yeah.
But it's seriously, seriously sturdy. I mean, you
need
can
it
see
to be.
how
You need it
dirty
to
it
be.
is. But I don't know, in terms of, I don't know, about a kilo?
Okay. Do you mind if I...
I don't know. I think what I might have to do is I might have to pass my set of plates over to the lovely Molly, and she might weigh them for me, because she's clever like that.
Well, we'll get a weight on those. Now, Carol, I hope you're still watching, because Carol sent in a message. It was in the earlier show, and I promised we would deal with it this hour because we ran out of time in a previous hour. So I'll read this out from Carol. So Carol's saying, hello, could John please demonstrate the magnetic plate? Saying that she's bought one and would like to see how it works. Again, like John, she has several die cutting machines over the last 20 plus years. I think all crafters can relate to that. And so she's interested in the magnetic base. She said she's found it to be very good and would like to know the sandwich. Many thanks. And that's from Carol. She's also talking about a quick, I don't know how to pronounce this, UTZ? Utes?
Quick cuts.
Oh, do you know what? The C's missing. Carol, the C's missing. You missed the C. I thought, is this a make that I don't know?
No, it's with a K. It's quick cuts with a K.
Oh, it is?
K-U-T-Z.
Oh, so it is spelt right?
It is spelt right,
Again,
yeah.
Carol, I apologise saying that you missed the C. Okay. So, quick cuts. I wasn't familiar with quick cuts.
I'll go through the platform and then I'll go through the quick cuts die for you as well. So what you've got here is, this is your magnetic shim, or your magnetic base. And effectively, it replaces your B. Yeah? So what you've got is, I've got some of the numbers here, and again, I'm terrible for doing this. I haven't actually cleaned them out. So these are the Advent numbers, but they've got little bits in there.
Well, we got these on the show with your
so
pop-up box.
technically, I should clean them out.
Okay.
But I'm not going to, because I don't do it at home. So at least it gives you a better feel for sort of what it is. So all you do is, that means that they're stuck now.
Okay.
Okay, they're in place, they can't move, so I don't have to tape them down. So this is particularly useful if you're using something like this, which is the Craft Artist satin card, because when you tape a die down to a satin or a mirror card, sometimes it will actually leave an impression. And so if you're wanting the aperture...
it will, won't it? Yeah, you're right,
or it will leave too much adhesive. Normal card, I don't fuss, but I noticed recently I've been making a lot with these, and I've actually found that what's happening is that it's leaving a tape mark that I can't get off.
Okay.
So what it says is you put your C plate on top. So you're going to cut up. Now this is where your C plate sometimes will warp.
Right. Because you say you like to have
it in the
sandwich.
Because you normally have it lower in the sandwich. So what you can do is you can do it like this, and this is how the instructions are. You run it through just like this. So you've basically got base plate, magnetic plate, your dies, your card, and your C plate. Yeah. So you can see there.
Oh, that's cut like a dream.
So I get absolutely no marks or anything on there.
Perfect.
So that's what it's useful for. And here you can see, we just pop these bits out. But you see I've got the perfect die cut. Oh, yeah. Every bit cut.
Look at that.
But can you see how beautifully chamfered it is? Yeah. It's finished on the edge. That's what I love about dies. If you are really concerned about your C plate or you start to find it, you can always do this.
I was just going to say the same thing.
There's nothing to stop you doing that and turning it over and running it. I'm not going to run that through simply because I haven't cleaned them out of those dies. Okay. So I haven't cleaned all the bits out, that's right. But that's what you could do.
Perfect. Keep the questions coming in, studio@thecraftstore.com. We have a lot of messages, actually. We're going to try and get through these. Thank you, Molly. I'll just grab that. Thanks. So, see, these are messages. It's just in the first 15 minutes. Shall I read some of these out? So I've got some of these. This is one from Sam. Thanks for all the messages, by the way. Sam's saying, I bought this die cutting machine the last time you had it on. I absolutely love it. My plates are still straight. Well done, Sam. And it has cut every die. I have even detailed dies first time. See, this is the thing. And these are reviews, feedback coming from crafters just as yourself. Sam's saying she's used detailed dies, still cuts through first time. But can you please tell me what sandwich I need for 3D embossing folders? Another good question, Sam, and I didn't even think of it. This is why I love getting questions from viewers at home. I hadn't even thought about 3D embossing folders.
No, so 3D embossing folder, I'll show you actually, because I was just going to go through with a quick cuts die. So this is a similar. to a quick cuts die.
Okay.
So you would expect your sandwich to be your C plate, your card, and you can't use your B because obviously it makes it too thick.
Right.
So what you actually do is you would swap that for either an extra C, and this is the same as when you're using sort of big dies.
And you were saying an extra C plate, it's just a 3mm plate.
It's a 3mm plate, so you can use your Kaleido plate.
Yeah.
You can use your A4 plate from things like the Spellbinders Platinum. You can use the adapter plate, which is the Raspberry from Spellbinders, or the Raspberry from the Tangerine.
Okay.
You can use your 3mm plates from sort of other manufacturers.
Well, Jill's asking here,
it's
actually.
quite easy to get hold of a 3mm plate, because I know we couldn't get any C plates.
Jill's saying, can I use the plates from my Cuttle bug machine with my new machine?
Okay, so you see here, okay, so it's not fully cut through.
Right.
Okay, so what I want to do is, obviously I can't go up, so all I do is add the metal shim in.
Yeah.
This is what's so clever to me about the way this machine was designed. You've not got the option of either having a 5mm and a 3mm plate or two 3mm plates and that's it.
Yeah.
With the addition of the metal shim, you're adding another mil in there.
And you were saying
so this sandwich at the moment is 6. With the addition of the metal plate, it's now a 7-inch sandwich.
Yeah. And that's the beauty, like you're saying, John was just explaining, if anyone missed it, having the wider machine as opposed to electric machines that are thinner, you struggle really to get shims in there. Now, got more questions coming through, so just as we're releasing that, John, got one from Davina, who said, I would like to say well done, John, regarding the Go Power and Emboss machine. I bought the machine that had the sensors hanging down, and now it was sent back because it was not up to standard. So yes, I was thinking about buying this machine. I have one question though, are the plates heavy, as I have dexterity problems? We had another email asking the weights of the plates. We've put all the plates, I'll just pick these up, all of these, if you were to stack, and that's so your base plate, your A, B, your base plate was your A, your B, your C, your metal shim, and your embossing mat. All of those stacked together is 1.5, just over 1.5 kilograms, and that's what comes with the machine. So if I just, because I know it's not the easiest to see on camera, but there you've got all your plates that you need. So I hope that works for you there, Davina. 1.5 if you're using them all, but you're going to, obviously, you're not going to use everything all together there.
There's actually quite a good sort of little bit in here, because I'm going to show you on the 3D embossing folder.
Okay.
Because I brought everything I possibly could, so I could answer every question going. Yeah. One important thing to do is cut your card to size.
Do you want to just show what we pulled out by there, by the way?
Oh, sorry, yes.
There you go. I mean, that's intricate.
That is an intricate die, and this is the same as the quick cuts dies. They are basically slightly thicker dies with a foam in them, but they're not a big die and they're not a thin die. Yeah. They're actually a kind of hybrid. So that's the design. Yeah. That's the side. They're a hybrid. So that's what you would do, is to use your C and another C or another 3mm plate.
And you're using quite a thick
I'm using 300 GSM, our craft artist gloss card.
So that's,
so again, that's I'm not using, none of these demos am I using easy card.
No.
And because the reason is, to me it seems a cheat. Well, people go, you know, okay, so this is going to cut like a dream. Well, yeah, if you use like 240 to 260 GSM card, I think it's important to show you just stretching it a little bit.
Yeah.
So 3D embossing folder, we know they're a little bit thicker. Every single folder from every single manufacturer, and I say this when I'm doing shows with them and everything, are different. Yeah. And every design usually has a different thing, but this is what I actually really like about this. So, the way that you emboss in the Go Power is slightly different.
Right.
Because what you would normally do is you would normally put it between two plates. Yeah. What you do is you use sort of the rubber mat, the chewing gum mat.
Yeah, the embossing mat.
Yeah, so I've got the embossing mat on top. Now, this is 3D. Yeah. So I'm going to use my C plate, which is my 3mm plate. But this was the thing about you saying about the weight. If you watch this, look. Yeah. At no point do you need to be holding it, if that makes sense. Yeah. Because the rollers are that far back in there, I can't touch them. Yeah. As long as you can do that, you can even build up a little platform there. So it's not as, you know, with some of the plates, when they're heavy and you're trying to,
you're not
at home, you've got the plates and you're trying to...
They're kind of self-supporting.
No, look, I'm using one hand.
Yeah.
So I can take the whole sandwich. So if you've got dexterity, you can take both hands, but look the space.
Nice.
So it's, and that's propped on. That's not even engaged.
Just before we put that through, John.
Yeah.
Now, this is an important point, because it's something else, actually, Davina mentioned. So she bought a previous machine that she sent back, and she said that machine had the sensors hanging down, and she was finding an issue.
Yes.
Now, you were saying the machine you were testing, I don't know if it's the same one or not, but the machine you were testing, one of the reasons you didn't go ahead with it...
Because it had the sensors hanging down.
And with this machine, because the sensors don't hang down, they're actually in the roller, we don't have to fiddle around. You can use your Kaleido plates in there, which are a lot smaller, and you're not having to hit sensors to make it work.
Well, it shows you perfectly on this folder. So there, in satin card, is your 3D embossing folder. Okay. And the thing is, we've got different sizes of embossing folders. So I've got here an A4 one.
A4,
We've all got these A4 ones, but of course this is not as thick. So for this, it's the same thing. But the reason I want to show you this bit is you watch this mat. It will, and it worries some people, it will look like it's turning into chewing gum.
Right.
Okay. So I know that this is not as thick. So I'm going to use my B plate, which is the 5mm plate.
So we need to get a bit more thickness.
Yeah. So it's the same idea, but look. Okay, run.
Yeah. We had a question, was it Ishmael?
Let's have a look. No, it won't take it. It's too big.
And it tells you?
It tells me. So I'm thinking, well, this isn't as thick as that one, so I'm going to put the C on and try that. There we go,
Perfect.
Running through. But if you watch the chewing gum board.
Yeah. Oh, it's being pressed out.
That takes the extra pressure and stops you breaking your embossing folder.
Yeah. Nice.
That was my plate, by the way.
That's all right, yeah.
But can you see at the end when this comes, look, it's like you've lost all the thingy out of your sandwich. Perfect. You see, I used the C, okay, on the top, and so it started to bend a little bit. So next time I'd use it down that way.
Nice. We actually had a message in from Ishbel saying, does the machine accept the plates easily? It absolutely does, but because there's no sensors, and that's a bonus to this, it's actually a design aspect, specifically designed. With the drop-down sensors in some machines, you have to kind of hit those sensors to trigger it. So with this, you put it in. Oh no! Ishbel was saying she hurt her hand actually by trying to jam plates in.
I know the pain, if that makes sense, because I've done it myself. This is the clever thing, and this is the best way I can show you this. Just want to show you this. So this is using exactly the same sandwich. That is a normal embossing folder. That is a 3D, because this is so thick. It took into account the different weights. But if I want to do a... where have I put those?
Should we show as well, John? Should we show, I know you were saying like the C plate, if you don't have, you know, we're talking about sometimes you need to use 2 C plates. Should we use another one of the plates to show that as long as you've got a 3mm plate, you can interact. So we'll do that. Also, very quickly, I just want to answer Peter's question as well. I promised this hour we're going to get through all your questions, so keep those coming in. So Peter was asking about, and it's a good question. We did kind of branch on this a little earlier on, but we'll answer it again. I'm thinking about getting this machine. Just wanted to double check something. I have another electronic cutting machine. I think I know the one, but the plates tend to warp on it to such a degree in a short time. That's the thing. They warp really quickly, and they're not cheap to replace. I was wondering if you could tell me how long your plates last.
My plates have been 2 years. In fact, to be honest, I've got a feeling now that with what I've been doing today, I've finally cracked through. I would still use, can you see there's a line come across it all the way?
Okay.
Yeah, so, okay, now this is with my use, every show, demos, thing, filming everything. So this has been 2 years, 5 months. This was March 2019.
Okay.
20, March 2019.
Right.
So I would say that I would probably be at the point of perhaps thinking about replacing this, because I'm tight.
Yeah, okay.
I do have a spare, though. 2 years, 5 months. But I have replaced my machine at home because I dropped my machine.
Okay.
I've replaced my machine, but I've kept the old plates for it.
Yeah.
So the new set of plates I have here are for my new machine that I've had 6 months. I haven't opened them because these are for Bess.
Well, there you go.
So that's how good it is. I mean, the one thing I would say to you, Peter, on the plates is Couture Creations don't keep loads of plates in stock because it's rare that they have to actually replace them.
Well, you were telling me...
Because we tried to... I know Buying tried to order some for this show and didn't get any.
Because there's not the need.
Because there wasn't the need.
Yeah.
So they don't have a warehouse full of plates.
That's a
so
good
we
sign.
couldn't get any C plates for this show because they didn't have a stock of them.
Because people don't ask for them.
They're so unnecessary.
John, that's a really good point, because you were saying that some die-cutting machines... you phrased it so well earlier on. This machine wasn't built to sell more plates.
It wasn't built to sell plates or dies.
Yeah.
It wasn't built... It was built to be a workhorse machine
that
for crafters, that cuts, that embosses, that takes some... I mean, they also made sure it takes their own foiling machine. So if you've got the older style foiling machine, it will take that. It was designed to take everything and be a workhorse, not a money maker.
Well, let's think. You don't want to buy a machine and within
not a cash cow, as I've just been reminded the word.
Within a few months, you're having to replace the plates. That would irritate me. So, Peter, I hope I answered your question there.
Can I just explain on this one?
Yeah, please do.
The lady was saying about the sensors and the difficulty in plates. These are the Kaleido plates. Okay. The way this works is you've got a really long flat bed before you get... I cannot touch the rollers. I wouldn't suggest you do this at home, and certainly not when it's plugged in. But if you put your hand in, if you can touch your rollers...
You've got very long fingers.
You've got a very... Well, of a different machine, it's because you've got a very short bed. This has got a really wide bed, so I'll show you. That is the engaged.
Oh, wow.
But these are my Kaleido plates. I press run.
Goes through.
And it goes through because there's no sensors. The sensor is actually on the back. And it switches the machine off when the back door closes.
And it has got a sensor in there, so if there was a point where you're trying to feed too much into the machine, what will happen? The machine will then, with that sensor, will kick in, it will know it, and then it will just feed it out. Because you were saying, even in all your classes, the 2.5 years you've had your machine, you've never had a jam where it's just got stuck.
I've never had a jam where it gets stuck. But that was in the middle, on satin card, that was cut, a simple die, in the middle of the machine on the Kaleido plate. That to me is the thing, and as I say, when you put them in, that is how big the... So you've not got that issue.
Well, with the drop, and just
and it's the same with the larger one, sorry, look.
But John, the reason why we're saying that, if a machine has a sensor that drops down, then the only way that will run is if your plates hit that sensor. So if you put, say, your Kaleido plates in the middle and they don't hit the sensor, then it wouldn't run. You don't have that issue with this machine.
No, if I want to cut, let's be really different. I'll tell you what, let's cut this one.
Okay, now this is tell
powerless.
A backstory with this.
This is a wooden die. This is one of the first dies ever made. And this is how they were. So if you're not old like me and you don't remember them, there were these and there were some called originals, which were sort of half-size plastic of this. But these wooden ones were the very first made.
Right.
Okay.
Wow.
And they've got sharp blades in there, and they've got piece. And they used to run through a machine where you would pull a handle down.
Oh, okay.
You'd put it in, pull a handle, move it along, pull a handle again to get the pressure. So that is the very first die that we ever did.
That's a collector's piece.
It is. Paola wants it back. I am not allowed to keep it.
Sure she does.
So here I've got a piece of mount board.
Okay.
Not grey board.
Wow.
So this is actual mount board. I can show you. I did have a piece earlier. I had everything all arranged. I did have a piece of mount board. Here we go. That's grey board. That's what you're used to buying. This is one available here. So this is grey board.
You can
and we know what that is, how thick it is. This is mount board. So that's not going to bend anywhere near
as much.
Yeah. So it's really thick, but that's the point. Okay. Let's get a piece like this.
Nice. Just as we're doing this, Sue has asked, how do you stop the cuts on the plate damaging the cardstock? So once they get a little bit worn, how do you stop them damaging the cardstock?
Basically, the only way to do that is to put a piece of thin card or paper over the top.
Okay.
And basically over the piece that you're cutting. Again, I can show you.
Okay.
But yeah, I think I really have broken my C in this show. But But that is one of the original dies ever done.
Oh.
And it went straight through in the middle with a smaller plate.
Well, now that's special. So
that went through, I'll show you.
So dies that we've had for years and years and years that you've stopped using, you might not have the machine anymore. All of a sudden, we're able to use those again. That's
if you've got a machine with a sensor, this will not work. I
Yeah.
promise you this will not work. Because the sensors are there, so it's not hitting it. So as long as the sandwich is right at some point in there, it'll go through.
John, it's a good machine.
It is a good
Do
machine.
you know, the more I see it, the more I love it. And look, that's the point. And we've got to stress this, because I understand that die cutting machines are a very personal choice. But what you're getting here is a machine that John has used for 2.5 years. So you know that with those questions we're having, John's used this machine for 2.5 years. He hasn't encountered any issues, no jamming. The plates have lasted 2.5 years. He's not had to replace the plates. This machine, with the wide mouth, will cope with any die you have in the stash. John's just used a die that is, great line from Marcus, our director there, I won't repeat, but very funny. So, though he's talking about you could use the very first die, and that was a special machine to do it. All of a sudden, John's been able to do it. Any die you have in your stash will run through his machine, barring the 12-inch dies that were made by Sizzix, and very few people have them, and the only way to do those, it was with a massive machine. It's a good, I promise you it's a good machine. And when you think about this for an electronic machine, because I've seen electronic machines of this quality, this caliber, you know, you get the same effects, and they're £100 more plus. You know, you see the kind of, getting into the sort of £250 plus price range here. This machine will do it. But not only that, you're not restricted to thin dies. You can do your bigs, you can do your thick dies, your thin dies, anything in there. This is also exclusive to the craft store, a monthly mega deal. This is a colour we chose, so it's made for us. You will not see this colour anywhere else. You can go for the original gold as well if you want. Both are really busy options, but pink is approaching half our stock for the monthly mega deal. A lot of stock, and you've got gold as well. But all I will say, and gold is approaching 40%. Look, as a crafter, and we all craft here, I craft, die cutting machine, it's a really important decision. I understand that is a considered purchase. With us at the craft store, you've got your 3 flexi payments, which is great, so we can spread the cost. $46.66 today, we send out the machine. As a bundle, you get all your plates, you don't have to worry about that. You've got your base plate in there, you've got your B plate, your C plate, and you've also got your embossing mat and your metal shim. You're going to get 30 dies as well, which are beautiful dies. And something you touched on, John, this is a huge, huge endorsement and the confidence that Couture Creations have in this machine. These aren't like simple shaped dies. These are really tight, intricate dies.
These were designed to go with this machine. These aren't available in their range.
Yeah.
These aren't oddments they've got left in the warehouse thrown together to make a bundle.
Yeah.
You know, this is how the machine comes. These are made for this machine. So these are, sort of think about it, if this is your first die cutting machine, these are the first dies you will ever cut. To make the first dies you will ever cut in a new machine that intricate, you have got to have
confidence in the
some
machine.
confidence. I was going to say something else then, but you have got to have some confidence in the machine to know that you are going to give somebody a die that will cut a die cut this intricate, literally, on your first go. Can you imagine? Look how fine that is. So they're including that in the machine. So it's almost a case of they're giving you basics you will need, but they're actually saying this is how good and confident we are in the machine. We'll give you a very difficult, normally to cut die in with it because we know it cuts. That takes a lot of confidence.
It really does. So 30 dies. And you're getting 2 embossing folders in the bundle as well. And you're also saving £10. And don't forget those flexi payments. We did actually have an email in response to Davina. Who was that from? It was Anne. Anne, thank you so much for this. Because Davina was asking about dexterity issues and with the plates. So Anne wanted to let her know that she's got restricted use of her left arm. And she can honestly say that these plates are the best for anyone with dexterity issues. So she said no problems there. And that means a lot. Thank you so much. Because I always find, understand if you're channel hopping and you're listening to John and I, you're thinking, well, look, these guys, they're on a channel, they're trying to sell a machine. Of course, they're going to be raving about the machine. It's important when you've got crafters, if you go to our website, this is what I would be doing, go onto our website. There are 84 reviews from crafters such as yourself who left it. And the best part of our website is all those reviews are honest, genuine reviews. Because, you know, sometimes you go onto sites and you're like, I sometimes doubt.
You can't leave a review unless you've actually bought
Yeah.
the product, because it's emailed to you, because I buy a lot of
Okay.
products.
But you know that they're honest reviews.
Yeah, they are. And I tend to ignore, you've got, as you said earlier, you've got to actually be genuinely impressed.
To read a
Because
review.
I get a couple, you know, I get 2 or 3 a week asking me to review products I bought from here. And it's very rare I do, because I can't be bothered.
Well,
I'm really sorry, I'll
You're
get
a busy
shouted
guy.
at.
No, you're
yeah,
a busy guy.
I am busy. So to take that effort to me means something else.
We'll go back to, I just want to make sure I get through all these questions. T emailed in as well saying, having had a Big Shot Plus for years and loving it, arthritis made me buy the Go Power and Emboss. Well, that's another thing, because especially with arthritis, it make a difference. It's had, thank you so much for this, saying it's hands down the best machine going for all dyes, bigs and thinlets, it doesn't matter. I haven't found a dye it doesn't cut on first pass or for intricate dyes on the reverse. So, I mean, that is another honest review.
And it's a genuine, and it's a person who is,
yeah,
because it matches with my experience, and that's what makes me so pleased, because I know that it matches my experience. It's exactly how I've done it. Yeah. And it's quite an interesting one, because you were saying about manual machines and dexterity and thing. What I want to show you, these are Hayley's Mocha block dies. Now, really, I should have passed some of this fabric over to Sasha to ask what it is, because I've given you a little, I gave you a little slip of it. I don't know where it's gone. Have the whole pile. Okay. This is like a really thick, like canvas, like a tenting.
It is a canvas. It's a canvas.
I don't know where I bought this from.
Okay.
It's a canvas fabric.
It's a canvas
very
fabric,
thick.
yeah.
So normally you would use 5 or 6 layers.
Okay.
But
I mean, that is heavy. That's a heavyweight.
It is heavyweight. I must
canvas.
ask Sasha for the end show as to what weight it is and what. She'll know more about it than I do. So to cut fabric now normally in a manual machine I would be advising you to put that way. Yeah. To get the sleeping policeman. Yeah. Yeah.
I've heard you say it before,
go basically, because what happens is, and this is where so many of us struggle. Yeah. So many of us struggle because with a manual machine, you've got a sleeping policeman. I mean, I think they're called speed bumps now, but when I was a kid, they were sleeping policemen. You drive up to it, you know you're going to bump over it. And this is where people with arthritis or dexterity issues will struggle to get it through with a manual machine.
You say that, I've struggled. Genuinely, I've used
Well, I know, but I'm being polite because I struggle as well,
I think
to be
everybody
honest.
struggles,
but if you can see, if it's not right, it'll reject it. So you don't have to think, oh, am I breaking the machine because I'm pushing too much? It will honestly.
The machine will tell you if it's had too much.
It will tell you if it's wrong. And all I have to do to cut fabric, and this is, as I say, very thick fabric, is first of all, use fabric dyes. These are different dyes. This is a papercraft dye. Look at how thin. This is a fabric dye.
They're different,
Yeah, there's about 3 times the metal.
Because it's like a mixed media dye. You're going to get a bit thicker.
But there, you see, that was straight across. So this is only 2 layers, but this is 2 layers. I mean, this is a good thing to Hayley's dyes because they are cracking. But those are your pieces of your patchwork done. Let's pull that one off so you can see. But look, no threading, no bits left over. Now, I know that you would struggle at home with a manual machine to get all of those through, certainly in a canvas. And all you have to do to cut fabric is use a fabric dye and cut it onto a metal shim. And the metal shim is included. And you can see how much I hammer mine.
You get it all, and it's so nice to have that A4 machine, because that means that you can cut anything, any die. We've had viewers endorsing that as well. Did we have another email that I was going to read out? Another question, or have I made that up in my head? So we just had an email about fabric, so hopefully we've answered that. Diana wanted to ask, could this take the dies for the Big Shot Plus? So if you have Big Shot Plus, will it take the dies for the Big Shot Plus? Perfect.
Big Shot Plus is an A4 machine. The dies it doesn't take are for the Big Shot Pro, which is the 12 by 12 machine.
Which very few people will have.
You will know if you've got one of those because you'll have paid £300 or £400 for it.
And it will take up most of your craft room.
And it will take up most of your craft room.
Okay. And that's, I've just got to stress, the only dies this won't take, are the 12 by 12s made by Sizik, which was, it was a small run. I think you were saying like a range of like 20 dies.
It was something like that. I know that, I'm sure that Paula said she's got 19 of them at home.
Okay.
And I know that Paula's like me, is a collector, so she probably,
okay.
and she worked for the company that made them, so she probably will have them all.
Fair enough. Did we have any other questions? Helen has suggested, now what she does, this is a good shout, I've seen this before actually, she uses like cello bags on the plates and it stops the plates getting marked and cut.
I mean, again, it's a way to do it. I wouldn't personally cut into a plate that has a cello bag wrapped round it.
Okay.
Because you're cutting into plastic.
Yeah.
And that can actually stop your cut.
Okay.
But you may know, I mean, the thing is, you may know better, Helen. I've not tried it, but I would imagine it that way.
I've seen it, and
but for marking your card for the top, it's a brilliant idea.
Yeah.
So if for this plate to go on here, that would be brilliant because it means none of this card would be marked.
Yeah.
What I tend to do is I'm quite lazy. I have a little pile next to me there because at home my card lives here.
Okay.
My machine lives here at the side. It's on a little. It's only on a little unit.
Yeah.
Things there. I grab a piece of photocopy paper and throw it over the top.
Fair enough.
I did say.
Yeah.
Here we go. This is your raspberry plate.
Yeah.
So you know you can tell I don't officially work for Couture. I don't work for Couture in any way, shape, or form. So I certainly wouldn't be using other manufacturers' plates, but it works. So if you're wanting to do like a big style, this is a big alphabet, and I'm using grey board.
So use your C and your C.
I'm using a C on the bottom. Of course, there doesn't come a second C, so I've replaced that with this time a raspberry plate from Spellbinders.
It can be any 3mm plate.
Any 3mm plate.
Yeah.
You basically just got to get the 3mm plate. But this will go through nice and long, and see how the die is actually that little bit longer.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. So if you've got some of the really long dies, big dies, it means you've got the plates for it.
Yeah.
They will go through here.
Yeah.
So don't think you've got to buy. So there we go, look. A, B, C, D. No, I won't sing them all, I promise. But you see, all of them cut through, and I used this time a Spellbinders plate that I picked up here, that I've borrowed from you guys, so make sure, I'm sure Molly will make sure I don't take it home with me.
Well, that's cut. John, you know that you think you've just bought a bag full of die cuts.
You would, and I've never been able to use this die in a long time, and certainly not electronically. Can you imagine winding? I'm not being funny, but can you imagine winding that through? There are 3 letters
each one
in a row, and then it goes all the way back.
That's one pass. I've got more questions coming through, so thank you so much for this. Suzanne has asked, I previously had a well-known machine, but got fed up of buying new plates. It's a question we hear a lot of. I just think it's madness. Well, you make a machine and you're chewing through plates like every few months. So every few months, due to buckling and marks from the plates showing on cards I was cutting. Bought my Go Power and Emboss 20 months ago and not changed the plates. Also has eliminated all the marking embedding into my card. 10 out of 10, excellent machine. Kind regards, Suzanne. Suzanne, thank you. And hearing these honest reviews, that is a really good review. Thank you so much, Suzanne. This is a good question from Darren. So Darren was saying, I'm thinking of replacing my conventional wide mouth electric cutting machine. I wanted to check, I know you've mentioned the name, I won't mention the name on air, but you can just see.
Oh, right, yeah.
Okay.
I tried that one.
Yeah, and wanted to check if the Go Power can be used with the flower molds from Heartfelt Creations. Such a good question, because whenever we do Heartfelt Creations, the one thing we always have to stress with the molds, you need a wide mouth machine. So would it work?
Yes, it will work. The machine you've got, Darren, is the one that I bought from the NEC and Bind was telling you about earlier. Keep the thinner plates. Yeah, because for the Heartfelt moulds, all you need is 2 C plates.
I'm so glad you said that, because
you're
asking for the plates.
So you will need a C plate, the mould with your paper in, and then you will need another C plate on top, which we haven't got any of, but the machine you've got has a 3mm plate in it. So keep your plates. Keep your 3mm plates. So imagine this is the one that goes with your machine. So it would be your C plate, your Heartfelt mould, some paper, and then your other 3mm plate on top. If I got a Heartfelt mould here, I'd try it, but I've never tried one. But I know that it works because I've spoken to Nikki about it.
Brilliant. 2 C plates there, Darren, and it is a great machine. Funny enough, Darren, the machine you just mentioned there, because I showed John, and we were talking about this in an earlier hour. I can't believe you did this. So you bought the machine. Just tell everyone the story.
I bought a machine. I've tried nearly every machine, if not every machine going. I bought it at the NEC. I did get a bit of a deal on it. It cost me £150.
Okay.
I took it home. I could not get used to the weird plate combination with it, and the pressure wasn't good enough for me. And it is one of the times, it's a very rare time I'm not impressed with myself.
Yeah.
I actually threw it in the bin. I didn't even recycle it or do anything decent with it.
You just thought enough's
I
enough.
threw it in the bin.
Do you know one thing I want to talk about?
And it may be that I had a dodgy one, I don't know, but it wasn't doing the job. And if it doesn't do the job from day one, I've had
Shouldn't do it. One thing I've noticed in doing the couple of hours today with you is how quiet this machine is. It's an electric machine, because some electric machines, I mean, you hear them a mile away.
I mean, the thing is, I'm short.
Yeah.
I'll put my mic near it.
And that's with your mic right next to it.
That will keep running. It will run for a certain amount of time.
Okay.
And then it will stop automatically.
Brilliant.
But that's what I love, is it runs without anything in it. But you can't hurt yourself.
We are getting towards the end of the show. We're going to continue demonstrations. All I will say to you very quickly, just do some housekeeping. If you're looking to get a new machine, if you're struggling with your hand crank machine, maybe you have an A4 machine and you do find when you're winding it, you really are having to give it some. If you're looking for a machine, an electric machine that has got that wide mouth, that will take the large bigs, but equally the thinlet dies as well, any die you have in your stash, this machine will be able to tackle, barring one, and that's the 12 by 12. That is it. And if very few of you will have that 12 by 12, but that's the only die this will not be able to take. And I've got to tell you, a monthly mega deal. Monthly mega deal. And today is the 17th. Is it 17th today? 50% of the stock's gone here. And we had an awful lot of stock. And I've got to show you, and 40% of this gold, the pink which we're featuring here, this pink is exclusive to the craft store. You will not be able to get this anywhere else. This was manufactured for us. So if you want to get hold of this, could you see this in your craft room? Ultimately, it looks good, but it works so well. It's a machine that John has tested for 2.5 years. Not only that, John bought these for his workshops. I mean, if you're looking for any bigger validation, he's used it himself for 2.5 years, and he thought, right, I am going to then buy 4 for my own workshops as well. We had a lot of questions about plates, and the thing with this is an electronic machine, it's not going to chew through your plates. John's had his plates for 2.5 years. He will use it probably more than anyone else on the planet, and it looks like finally after 2.5 years and doing the show, maybe your C plate.
I think my C plate may give up the ghost after this show, to be perfectly honest.
That's absolutely fine.
It's had its life, and I have got a spare, and I did buy a spare.
Got a message here from Jackie. Oh, it is a long one, but worth reading. So I had an electronic die cutting machine, and it leaked oil. It ended up being an expensive experience. What? It leaked oil? Have you heard this before? Electronic die cutting machines?
It isn't actually oil it's leaking.
Oh, what's it leaking?
It's actually, what happens is some of the gears in some of the machines are plastic, not metal.
Oh, all right.
And over time, the little bits of plastic come off the gears. And they then get compressed. They drop onto your plates and get compressed, and it looks like oil stains. It's not. It's actually little bits of plastic. It's actually little bits of plastic from the
plastic
oil, cogs actually being under pressure condensed, and it's basically the first warning sign that your machine's on the way out. I promise it isn't oil. It is, unless it isn't. I've got it wrong, but usually, because I've seen it on manual machines as well, it's actually the gears being plastic.
And we don't have any plastic bits in here?
It's full metal.
Brilliant.
Inside here. I have opened one.
Okay, Jackie was saying because of this, I was looking for another die cutting machine that had a wider mouth and did some research. I even spoke to the people at Couture Creations in Australia. Excellent, really did your research. When I saw a reasonable price, I purchased one for myself and sent one to my sister in Austria as a surprise. Jackie, you're a good sister. She is now loving paper crafting. We have shared oh, that's nice. We've shared interest now. We love these machines, and I wish I'd bought one earlier. They are quieter than all the others, and will also take our Cuttlebug dies. Thank you to the craft store, and that's Jackie. Jackie, thank you for taking the time to send that message.
Yeah.
Isn't that nice? You bought one for her sister.
It is. And it will take, and as I say, the thing is, as Jackie said there, it will take the Cuttlebug dies. It will take the Aqua Quilt dies.
Oh, that's another
Yeah,
one.
it will take every die ever done. The idea is, the way die work, this is a mangle.
Yeah.
Let's be honest, this is a posh mangle.
Okay.
It's an electronic mangle with metal gearing. I know because the one of mine that broke at home, obviously I pulled the case off it and had a look inside.
Okay. Just to stress, the only reason it broke is because John dropped it. If you look, this will last you as long as you don't drop it onto a hard surface.
Yeah, basically, yeah, like the concrete floor in my craft cave when you're moving things around.
Right.
It's got metal pieces in there. And basically, it's two rollers going in the same direction, and you basically putting a sandwich through that.
Yeah.
As long as that sandwich will go through, it will cut, it will emboss the flower moulds.
Yeah.
It's all about getting it through, and the combination of the plates, of having the thick base plate, the metal shim, the B plate, the C plate, an extra C plate or one of the 3mm Kaleido plates, or a Spellbinders or Tonic raspberry plate, or a 3mm plate from Gemini or whatever other machine, I would say probably from your Spellbinders Platinum, it will work.
Perfect.
If you can get it through, it will work, it will cut.
Just having a look here, now this is interesting because vellum notoriously hard to cut die.
Yeah, well this is actually as well, I ought to cut a little bit off to thingy, because Paola wanted to know where I got this from.
Yeah.
That is super vellum, this is super parchment. It feels like a piece of plastic, doesn't it? That's
really
not your normal.
I know. No, you've got
this
minute
is
and a half.
every single. This is the 4 in the Advent pop box.
Yeah.
These detailed snowflakes, and again, you can actually even see where they're hand drawn, where I go off slightly.
Wow. Yeah.
You see how it's done, but they've cut all perfectly, all 4 of them.
Love that.
In the vellum. So that's what's so good about it. I can cut this mount board. Yeah, but I can also cut vellum in the same machine. Ooh.
And we also, we showed
now?
in the previous aisle, we had a question in about mylar, being able to cut mylar, and we were able to do that as well. So you showed, we had very thick mylar.
I've got very thick mylar. Basic shape, no problem at all. Detailed shape, you're always going to struggle on mylar.
Okay.
I'd rather be honest, but a basic shape, no problem at all. It's not about the machine, it's about the die. As long as you've got a good machine with a good die, it works.
And
it has to be a combination.
It really is. All I'll leave you with, because we have run out of time, it is a very good machine. I promise you, John would not be standing here endorsing this machine if he didn't believe in it. He wouldn't have used it for 2.5 years. We're now approaching 60% of the pink, and I'm so pleased we've been busy for the pink. It is exclusive. You cannot buy this anywhere else. The pink is made for us. So if you want to go for the pink option, and I know so many people have, enjoy it, and we look forward to hearing your stories there. Thank you for your company. Big thank you to you, John. You're an absolute star. Plenty more. John's going to be back at 4.